Good evening. It's Wednesday, August 15, 2018, and I'll now call this meeting of the Burnsville Economic Development Commission to order. Our first order of business is to adopt the agenda. Since we don't have a quorum here, Skip, I'll look to you for direction on this item.
If we could, Mr. Acting Chair, let's adopt item number 3, only the review of the land sale, so we can have that presentation and discussion as it goes to EDA next week.
Okay, I would stand for a motion adopting
So moved.
research sale.
I'll second.
A motion, I would say, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same side, and the motion carries. So we'll move to item number 3, the sale of EDA-owned land to ours Burnsville Apartments LLC, and I'll give Mr. Niehaus the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. The land in question is commonly referred to as the AAA land. It is noted on the site plan before you. It is the land that is vacant that sits next to the Heart of the City parking deck, which sits next to the Ames Center. The land was acquired back in 2001. It was part of a larger purchase from AAA when they moved to another building in Burnsville. The original purchase was for $1.8 million. The parcel that is now referred to as the AAA piece, its value in that purchase was slightly over $500,000. In 2007, we did have a master developer that was going to develop all of the vacant land. Right prior to closing on that purchase to develop, they terminated the agreement. At the time, the city was in the process of building the Ames Center, so the city took on building the Heart of the City deck in 2008. Med Cruz, which is currently on one of the parcels, also came to the city in 2008 and asked to buy that piece of property, which was sold to the EDA sold it to them, and they obviously built the Med Cruz. Over the subsequent 2011 to 2017, we did issue 2 different RFPs on the remaining AAA property. Neither of those actually got any responses. We also, during a 4-year period of time over the last 4 years, were in negotiations on 3 different possibilities. 2 of them for hotels were actually brought to both the EDC and the EDA and received approval. Both of them, right prior to closing on the transactions, backed out of the agreement. One simply ran out of money. The other one had a part of their agreement that they could do a study of the area, and at the time, we were kind of coming out of the recession. The rack rates, the hotel rates in Burnsville were rather low, and they determined that their return wouldn't be fast enough. The EDA has done ongoing marketing of the property, and we have had some other inquiries on the property that at the time staff knew would not be acceptable to the EDA, and basically told the inquiring party that the EDA would not sell the property to them for what they wanted to use. The current proposal before you is from Rohr's Company, and they will be buying the parcel under the Rohr's Burnsville Apartments LLC. This would be the second development in Burnsville for Rohr's. Rohr's has currently received approval to do a senior complex off of Grand Avenue. This proposal would be for an apartment complex of approximately 138 units. It would have a number of amenities within it. It would also have, that's actually a typo on your screen, it's actually 1,500 square feet of retail. They would commence construction of the project 6 months after the closing, and they would commence or complete construction within 18 months after the closing. And in their contract, it stipulates that they need to close by the end of January of next year. The rents are going to range from, on the low end, $950 for a junior suite up to $1,550 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Their offer is $515,000. The county currently has the property assessed at $536,600, and we did have an old appraisal at $865,000. None of the past sales that the EDA has agreed to have ever been at $865,000. They have all been basically within the $500,000 range. I will take any questions or comments that you have. As we do not have a quorum, Mr. Acting Chair, we obviously cannot make a recommendation on this. Staff would have recommended that you recommend approval of this, but I would certainly stand for any of your questions at this time.
Commissioners, do we have any questions?
The 1,500 square feet of retail, is that in addition to the other stuff that was listed?
Yes,
The coffee bar and the
Yes,
other
Commissioner.
stuff? So what kind of retail are they looking for, do you know?
they have not specified yet.
Would that be on the bottom floor?
That will be on the bottom
Or main?
floor, and I believe that they're probably looking at it being as close to Traveler's Trail as possible. So you'd see the retail right from the parking deck in the Ames Center.
Okay,
So it would blend in with the other retail that's already in heart of the city on that side of Nicollet.
depending on what the retail is, my only concern would be parking for the retail. I would assume there'd be enough spots for the apartments, but,
There will be underground parking for the apartments. There also will probably be some surface parking that will service the guest of the apartments and the retail. And then, like any other retailer in heart of the city, they can utilize the parking deck if they
That's
so
true.
desire.
okay.
Yeah, were there any, I just don't remember the process, assuming that a recommendation is made to approve the sale and EDA so agrees and the council agrees. Is there then a subsequent kind of proposal that comes before this group, or the design and other, parking and other issues that might come up?
No,
No.
Commissioner, that would
Okay.
go to the Planning Commission.
Okay,
The Planning Commission would handle all of that. And the EDA should be aware that there is a design standards manual for heart of the city, which obviously this project would be held to those standards. So the types of material that you see in all the other buildings in heart of the city would be the types of material that this developer would have to utilize. And then the parking, we would require that they have a parking stall for each apartment complex underground, and then they should be able to get some surface parking to alleviate any parking that needs they may have.
was that 1,500 square feet? I'm just curious, because I know the issue of commercial space in heart of the city has come up, and whether there's enough or too much or the right kind. Is that 1,500, was that a maximum or a minimum, or is it pretty generic and gives them some flexibility to
The
determine?
contract actually reads approximately 1,500, so there is a little.
Yeah,
We would expect it would be very close to the 1,500. Commissioner, I doubt if it would vastly exceed the 1,500.
yeah, I only bring that up, and I can't remember what the current capacity is of available commercial space in heart of the city. But it sounds like there's an approximation, so it's not set in stone. Meaning we don't want to have more empty,
Absolutely.
vacant commercial spaces, so it would be ideal to fill that up right away if possible.
How many stories was it gonna be?
It will probably be 4 stories. And there is a contingency that the height of their structure will not block the view of the second level of the Ames Center into the skyline.
Okay,
And if you remember the topography, it goes down, so that's
Yeah.
why you can have 4 stories and accomplish that.
Is the city looking at doing any other, like road work or anything else around that area to further accommodate that increase in traffic? Or it should be?
Actually, Commissioner, we will be very shortly starting on some lighting improvements, some additional sidewalks. We received a grant from the state this year that will offset about 40% of that road work that we're gonna do in heart of the city. Some of the decorative lighting that you see in heart of the city will be continued along Travelers Trail, and there will be sidewalks put along, continued along sidewalk, along there. We are also gonna put some charging stations in the heart of the city deck, electric charging stations for cars, and a charging station on that small surface lot that sits across the street from where JoJo's and the bridal shop is.
Great.
The one question I have is, looking at the budget impact section, it says the purchase price will be used to reimburse the TIF District 2.
That's
What is the purpose of providing that money back to the TIF when it's already expired?
The money to originally purchase the property came out of what is referred to as pooled TIF from TIF District 2, which is up on the County Road 42 area, and that TIF district has expired. But by law, we have to reimburse for what we took out. So that will go back to make that reimbursement, and eventually goes back into the pool for, offsetting taxes.
Yep, so that it's still classified as a TIF amount?
Yes.
Okay. So would that money be utilized in any other capacity?
It could,
Okay.
it could.
Any other questions for the commission?
Thanks for a wonderful presentation. That
it-
concludes our authority.
Since we
at
can't
today's
make a
meeting.
recommendation, we'll have to,
If I could, Mr. Acting Chair, obviously, since we don't have a quorum, you cannot make a recommendation. But I think it would be beneficial to the EDA if any of the current commissioners here have an objection to the sale, please voice that objection. If not, I think they will assume that there's at least no objection from the three of you.
any objections?
No,
I don't see any.
Thank you
from-
very much.
And with that,
Mr. Acting Chair, since we just had another commissioner walk in to give us a quorum, can we back up?
we certainly can.
only if he
Jeff,
agrees to be
please.
an officer before we vote.
Please join the commission.
Sorry.
We're glad you're here. Come on in.
I do have a good excuse.
And I can vouch for the commissioner, he did send me an email on Monday saying that he would be getting off an airplane tonight and would be driving right here, and did say he could be late. And we actually had skipped item number 3 for the discussion of the sale of the EDA land pending a quorum coming. Commissioner, would you like me to quickly go through the proposal, or are you up to date on the proposal?
Would you quickly, please?
I certainly can.
I did review the notes. An update would be good.
And if your fellow commissioners would listen to me one more time,
And I apologize to my fellow commissioners for
That's
being
okay.
late.
We're fine.
you saved us.
We'd rather get this done now.
The land in question, referred to the AAA land, is shown on your screen. It's the land next to the parking deck in the heart of the city. Quick history, we purchased that plus some other property that AAA owned back in 2001 for $1.8 million. The parcel in question actually comprised a value of about $504,000 out of that purchase. We had a master developer in 2007 that terminated their agreement at the last minute. The Ames Center was under construction, so the city took on constructing the HOC parking deck. Mediterranean Cruise came to us in 2008 also and requested a small portion of that property, which the EDA sold to them, and they built the restaurant that sits there now. We have had 2 RFPs go out with no response. We also had 3 different negotiations that we went through, 2 of which were for hotels. Both of them actually came to this group, the EDC Commission and the EDA, and got approval, the 2 hotels, and then both of them at the last minute terminated those agreements. We've done ongoing marketing activities on the property. We have had inquiries that I explained to the commission before you arrived, Commissioner, that would not have been acceptable to the EDA, so staff has just told the developer that that would not work. Current proposal is by Roars Companies. They are going to propose approximately 138 apartment buildings with a number of amenities. It's actually approximately 1,500 square feet of retail. That's a typo on your screen. They would commence construction within 6 months of closing, complete construction within 18 months of closing. And in their agreement, it states that the closing would be by the end of January of next year. The rent ranges for the apartments would be on the low end, $950 a month for a junior suite, to a high end of $1,550 on a 2-bedroom. The offer is $1,500 or $515,000. The county does have it assessed at $536, and it was appraised a number of years ago at $865. None of the prior approvals ever came anywhere close to that $865. They were always right around $500,000, so that offer right there is well within the range. And we were at this point where staff was taking questions and recommending that the EDC recommend approval by the EDA when you came in and gave us a quorum. So we would certainly answer any questions you might have.
And has everybody had questions already on this?
Yep.
Yeah, one of the questions I had was, I did review the packet, and what is those rent rates per square foot? Do you know what that equates to?
I do not, I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner.
I'm just curious what the market stands. I was generally in favor of it. I wanted to make sure architecturally it blended in well with what we're trying to do with the heart of the city, and that the materials were going to be durable materials that are gonna stand the test of time, because we want the heart of the city to continue to look great and well-kept 20 years from now, so.
And one of your fellow commissioners has brought up that point. There is a design framework manual for Heart of the City, and as it goes through the planning process with our planning staff, this project will obviously have to meet those standards. So it will, same materials that you see in all the other buildings in the Heart of the City will be utilized in this apartment complex.
So those are my main questions. Otherwise, I was very much in favor of it. I think it's great.
If there are no other questions from the commission, looking for a motion?
I'll move.
Looking for a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same side, motion carries.
If we could, Mr. Acting Chair, since we now have a quorum, could we move back to item number 2, adoption of the prior 3 minutes meeting, adoption of the prior 3 meetings minutes, and then also number 4, election of officers, since we have a quorum.
Certainly, we'll move back to the adoption of the minutes, since we have 3 minutes to adopt here. One motion can cover all of them, but kind of to walk through them separately to see if anyone has any questions or revisions. So we want to start with January 10. Is there any revisions or comments from the commission? Moving on to June 13 meeting minutes. Any revisions or corrections from the commission?
Nope.
And then moving to the July 18th, 2018 meeting minutes. Do we have any corrections or revisions to this? Skip, I did have one question on here. I don't see that we have the July 25th meeting minutes here. Is that just because it's a continuation from?
No, thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. Our city clerk, the EDA secretary, took the minutes at the July 18th and the July 25th meeting because the EDA was also there. Unfortunately, our city clerk is highly invested in election judge training for the last few weeks and running the primary election. And she also was prepared to have minutes ready for your September meeting. And as you know, this was called as a special meeting to facilitate this land sale. So no, there will be separate minutes for the July 25th joint meeting between the EDC and the EDA, and we'll bring them to you at your next regular meeting for adoption.
Sure. So then the only revision I have is on the July 18 minutes. It says all the commissioners were present, but I believe Sandra Coppin was absent for that meeting, as well as EDA, Bill Coughlin was absent for that as well.
The one I read had that.
Both of
in it.
those are noted, Mr. Acting Chair, under absent.
Do I have a different?
She's got a listing of commission present, EDA present,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
absent she has.
You must have a different draft. Yeah, this one
Oh,
had.
I have a different draft that I'm looking
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, the one that's
Okay.
currently posted online reflects that Bill and Sandra were absent. Yeah,
Alright.
I don't know.
I don't know how I got this
Yeah.
revision then, but
It's okay.
I'll take my revisions and,
Mr. Acting Chair, I believe we actually discussed at a July 25th meeting. I think someone brought that up. You may have had minutes,
From before
July
that.
18th minute were given to you at the July 25th meeting. You may be looking at those minutes.
okay.
I believe someone did bring that up. So that has been corrected. Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Looks like there's no visions on this. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt all 3 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same side, and the motion carries. We'll move to the election of the officers. Do I have any nominations for, we'll start with each one individually. We'll start with,
If I could, Mr. Acting Chair.
sure,
As I noted in your background, Commissioner John, who is currently the vice chair, has indicated that if the commission so desired, he would be willing to serve as the chair. He certainly has time left and could do that. And also on Monday, I received notice from Commissioner Kuplik that if so desired by the commission, he would be willing to serve as vice chair. Certainly, anyone else could be nominated from the floor right now, and certainly you can vote on them individually. Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair.
Sure, with that, I'll take any nominations for the chair.
I would nominate Chris John for chair.
Second.
I have a motion to nominate Chris John for the chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side. Motion carries. Do I have any nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate Eric Newman for vice chair.
Second. Solid work.
So I have a motion for Eric Newman for vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same side, and the motion carries. And with that, there are no other items to come before us tonight. And a motion to adjourn the meeting is in order.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Thank you for joining us tonight, and everyone have a good evening.